What is up, YouTube? Today, we're gonna do the best bang for your buck under 10K. Our list is gonna be in no particular order, but I'm gonna list 5 cars that I think are the best bang for your buck under 10K. On my list, we're gonna have 2 rear-wheel drive cars, 2 front-wheel drive cars, and 1 all-wheel drive car. What is up, YouTube? Today, we're gonna do a best bang for your buck at 10K. On the list, we're gonna have 2 rear-wheel drive cars, 2 front-wheel drive cars, and 1 all-wheel drive car. On our 10K list, there might be some overlap from our 5K list, but let's start it off. We're gonna jump right into the front-wheel drive options. My first car, best bang for your buck under 10K, is the Acura RSX Type S. The RSX Type S was mentioned in our best bang for your buck at 5K, though a hard find. You could definitely get one with higher miles around 5K. But if you're looking for a nicer, cleaner, lower mile variant, you're looking closer to 10K. The RSX Type S came equipped with a K20A2 and made a staggering 200 horsepower, equipped with a 6-speed manual transmission. The car itself drives really good from the factory, as most cars of the era did. Being front-wheel drive, however, it was prone to mid-corner understeer, and if you power out of the corner, you're definitely gonna get understeer. But for 10K, 200 horsepower, 2,600-ish pounds, it's a fast car. Great car to drive. Get an aftermarket airbox for it, or aftermarket air intake, maybe an exhaust, and you'll hear some beautiful VTEC noises and you'll enjoy it every day. Our second front-wheel drive offering is the Volkswagen Golf GTI. If you're lucky, you can find a lower mile 6th gen, which is 2008 to 2012. These cars could be had both in a dual clutch and a manual transmission, and front-wheel drive cars right out of the box, they're great. The turbo engine that they have is easily tunable and has the potential for great power gains, and overall it's a very well supported chassis, so there's lots of aftermarket for it. Fun car to drive, easy car to mod. If you're lucky, you might be able to find a maybe slightly higher mile 7th gen. The 7th gen is also a great option. Harder to find in a 2-door, but still a good option and still available in a 2-door as well. The 6th gen GTI version made 211 horsepower from its turbocharged inline 4. It's a great option. It really is. At 10K, you can't get much better. And if you're looking for a dual clutch car, at 10K, that's probably your only bet. So if you're forced to have an automatic and you want a sporty automatic, the Volkswagen Golf's your best option. Moving on, let's talk about our all-wheel drive offering. There was really just 2 cars in this category, or 1 brand and 1 other car. And it was kind of a tough choice, though the cost requirements of this video kind of made the choice for me. I'd love to put the Evo right here because it is, in my opinion, the best all-wheel drive car around this price point. But they're kind of hard to find for 10K. Not kind of hard, they're next to impossible to find for 10K. So we're left with the Subaru WRX. And the WRXs are also a good bang for your buck. They come equipped with the flat 4 boxer engine, turbocharged. In our price point, you'd be looking at a 2nd or 3rd gen WRX. The 3rd gens, you could get the ever popular hatchback, and the 2nd gen, you're looking at the Bug-Eye, both of which are great cars. Plenty of tuning potential, lots of tuning support for the car. And in general, like, they're good cars. I want to say they make, from either the 2-liter or 2.5-liter boxer engines, you had between 170 and 225 horsepower. And both being turbo, you do have a significant amount of tuning potential. Both cars, especially in the Midwest where we do get snow, make great options. For 10K, you're not going to get something that's much more fun or track capable than your Subaru WRX. And now we're going to get into the rear wheel drive offerings. The rear wheel drive offerings were tough because, to be honest, there's a lot of good options at 10K. So narrowing it down to just 2 cars was rather difficult. And there's a lot of good options that we're going to leave off this list. And maybe in the coming week I'll add them to the description, just so I can get some extra honorable mentions in there for our rear-wheel drive fans. First on the list is something very near and dear to my heart currently, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw the BMW 335i on the list here. Now, generally, I would say shoot for Japanese cars on these lists, because at the price point, it's a better bang for your buck. To find, it's really hard to find a better bang for your buck than the 335, 135, BMW's N54 and N55 powered cars. So the 335 is the one I chose because you can get a 2008 to 2011 BMW 335i, manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, comes factory with 300 horsepower, and the N54 engine that comes in those cars easily touches, 500 horsepower with about $1,500 in aftermarket parts. And from a tuning potential standpoint, you just can't beat that. So for 10K, it's probably going to be a higher mile car, but they're incredibly reliable. I have 2 friends, in fact, that are like at 260K, and they drive their cars hard still to this day. And they're fully tuned, so like, it's just a good car. It's not without its character flaws, as is any car. You're gonna have some issues. You could have some issues with them, but you're gonna have those potential problems with any car. Next on the list is another car that has a special place with me, and that's going to be your Nissan 350Z. These cars I foresee being more valuable in the future, not necessarily going up in price too much, but as they get harder and harder to find in good shape, I think that they are going to be more valuable and they're going to retain their value a little better. But as of current, you can find a nice 350Z for right around 10K. And though it takes a significant amount more money to make a lot of power, the chassis itself is one of the best driving cars I've ever driven. And I've driven a lot of cars, and I can say with good confidence that at the price point, you're gonna be hard pressed to find more of a driver's car. It's the natural balance of the car is unbeatable. They're just really good cars. So, I wouldn't suggest buying it to be this high horsepower monster unless you plan on throwing a tremendous amount of money at it to turbo it or supercharge it or just flat out engine swap it. But the chassis itself is one of the best chassis I've ever driven. Its steering response is incredibly lively. The car feels very predictable at the limit. So when you're getting close to a 10/10ths driving, as the car starts to let loose in the rear end, for example, it's very gentle. Now, some of that is, of course, tire dependent, but as it starts to break free, it lets you know. It comes out very gently, and just in general, it's just a really good driver's car. If I had to, and again, this list is in no particular order, but if I had to say what's the best driving car on the list. In my opinion, the 350Z takes it. You might also be able to get a 370Z at this price point, which is basically the same car, a little bit more torque and a little bit more refined styling. Either option's great. They're both really good cars. So guys, that was my list for best bang for your buck at 10K. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And what do you think's the best car for 10K? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what the best car for 10K is from your perspective. Throw them in the comment section below. Let's have a conversation about it. Catch you in the next one.